Hello everybody, I'm Raphael Perry and it's time for some more of the Cretan Chronicles. We're back replaying the Bloodfeud of Altheus because we missed out on something very crucial to completing Book 2. And it's mathematically extremely close to impossible to complete Book 2 without it. So, we are back at Section 3. We've gained the favour of Asclepius, and we're trying to get to Eleusis, which is, if we just open one of the other books again, all the way up here. And it's kind of hard to get to. And heading for Eleusis means missing out on Delphi, Thebes, and I think even Akane, but I can't remember for certain. So, the sun, now well above your home, far off in Trozen, throws gentle light down on the earth below. Its warming rays play on the leaf-filled trees. The way out of Cleone climbs gently to the crest of the foothills. Your legs, now fresh and eager for the journey, make light work of the ascent. As you reach the top, you gasp at the panorama below. To your left, the Gulf of Corinth opens out in a vast expanse of wine-dark water. At its head lies the city of Corinth, standing like a watchtower, vigilant over the sea, in case the pirates come to carry off the crops and lay waste to the well-stocked villages. At the foot of the hills to the right is little Kenchreia, sister of Corinth, as the moon is of the sun. Beyond the harbour, the Saronic Gulf reaches out almost to Athens, city of the owl-eyed goddess. Between the waters, the isthmus links the Isle of Pelops with the wild lands below. You ponder your choice between bustling Corinth and the seafaring Kenchreia. We will head to Corinth. Down towards the metropolis you trek, the hill paths littered with rubble forcing you to tread warily. Shepherds graze their sheep to the left and right, and as you come closer to the city, carts begin to pass you, plying between Corinth and its sister port of Kenchreia. There's a clue here, but we should remind ourselves that clues are something a Bronze Age hero would do in this situation. And when there doesn't seem to be anything reasonable that would suit the mindset of a Bronze Age hero, it's probably a bad clue. We shall ignore it for now. What will we do, rob people? The city is extremely busy. People flock to and from the vast market. You stand and shake your head at the tradesmen hawking goods from all parts of Greece. City life is so different from the tranquillity of simple Trozen. Standing over the market and dominating it is a temple of Aphrodite, its columns carved in pure white marble, young women and priestesses languishing idly on the steps. You hurry up and go up to a stall. You hurry by, rather. You hurry by and go up to a stall selling fruit. You buy some grapes, and the stall-keeper at once notices that your money is not that of Corinth. You fall into conversation with him. Thinking that you are travelling south, he warns you to avoid Epidaurus and a man named Procrustes in Tyrans. When you explain your destination, and possibly even mention the fact that you have handed over Procrustes to the authorities, he suggests that you go to Delphi to seek inspiration from Apollo, the prophet god. Another nearby stall-keeper suggests Crommyon as a suitable next stage on your journey. From there, he says you could catch a boat to Athens. We can go through Pagae to Delphi, to Crommyon, or to Corinth, or stay in Corinth for the night. We'll head through Pagae to Delphi. pretty sure this is what we did on our first playthrough as well. However, this will soon change. The road to Pagae is strewn with bodies of dead cattle and goats, wasted from the plague and rotting from days in the sun. The smell is, at times, overpowering. Unperturbed, you press on, not to be turned aside by some farmer's ill luck. You pass a shrine to Athena, the owl goddess, protectress of this town. The streets seem strangely deserted. As you pass a peculiarly imposing building, a man beckons to you. "Stranger," he calls, "for you are obviously such, and have not heard of this town's affliction. There is a plague here caused by rats. All our efforts to drive them out have been unsuccessful. Many of our folk have been bitten and died. Perhaps you could help us." We could leave Pagae as quickly as possible, or, as Athena is our patron, agree to help her town. That seems like a very reasonable thing to do. Especially as we have something that will make this very useful. The Lord of Pagae takes you to a derelict barn on the outskirts of the city. "Here," he says, "the rats are nesting. I am sure that you can deliver us. You are some of the marks of a hero." With this, he ushers you into the barn and closes the door behind you. It is dark and musty, and as your eyes grow accustomed to the gloom, you think you see small shapes scurrying around. There is the sound of squeaking and scrabbling. However, we have the favour of Asclepius, the healer. Therefore, we're doing this one on easy mode. The healer god, in repayment for your earlier services, lights up the barn with a healing glow. The rats, harbingers of death and disease, cannot bear the touch of Asclepius, and they perish, withered where they stood, as the golden ears of corn die at the scorching touch of Skyron, the wind of the northwest. Your task is done, and the town of Pagae is set free from the plague. You are in favour with Athena if she is not your patron. In any case, you may have 4 honour points. The lord of the town, seeing what has happened, greets you, but hurries you out of the town with only a loaf, afraid of the works you might perform in his domain. Well, let's have those 4 honour points. That takes us up to a mighty 20. We are going to need those in the battle against the sea serpent, and when we meet with Talos later on the shores of Crete, or very close to them. Now then, on your way from the disease-ridden town of Pagae, you come to a fork in the road. It could be Pagae or Pagae. It's probably Pagae, but Pagae felt right. Place just where... Pagae, almost. No, Pagae, probably. Right. Quickly on your way from the disease... Well, I went with Pagae earlier, so I'll stick with it. Be consistent. Quickly on your way from the disease-ridden town of Pagae, you come to a fork in the road. Placed just where it begins is the triple-formed statue of Hecate, queen of the underworld and goddess of night, one head pointing in each direction. In one of her 6 hands she carries a headless jet-black puppy. In another she holds a torch. You may pass the statue to the right and head on to Eleusis, or to the left and Delphi. Last time we went to Delphi. This time we shall head to Eleusis. Eleusis, fairest flower in the Attic gardens, save only proud Athens herself, home of Demeter's sacred mysteries, bright pearl that gazes over yellow Salamis with kindly eye. Eleusis, where you, Altheus, now find yourself amid the yearly festival of the corn goddess, bright-eyed Demeter, fair lady of the earth and all fruit it bears. You move on slowly through the crowds, gathered in awe at the awaited time when Persephone, spirit of spring, must return to the earth above and life begin anew. Went a little too far there. At length you reach the temple itself. On the white, wide steps there stand the priestesses of the great goddess, chanting and wailing their rite. The crowd is hushed, straining to hear every word, and silent in anticipation of some great event. Then the high priestess begins to move among the crowd, touching now one, now another, brushing them with her yellow robe, but never satisfied. Her motions become more frenzied, like one inspired by the goddess. At last she comes to you. Gripping you by the upper arm, she draws you up to the temple steps. There's a clue here. What would a hero do in this situation? He would go up the temple steps. He would not struggle and break free or something. So up the temple steps we shall go. Specifically a Bronze Age hero, not necessarily a hero from other times. That is a very long-looking arm, isn't it? It's like her elbow is here. It's not that close. It's not tucked into the side of her body. It's actually reaching out, so it looks longer, I think. Before you are fully aware of what is going on, you are on top of the temple. The priestess speaks to the people. Citizens of Eleusis, worshippers of Demeter, as is the goddess's will, it is one of the common people who officiates at the springtime rite of corn, water, and flame, the symbols of rebirth. Let the rites begin! The priestess steps aside to reveal a low table on which stand an urn of water, a bowl of corn seed, and a small brazier on which a blue-white flame is burning. There is no backing out now. You must somehow complete the ceremony, or indeed begin it. Do you deal with the corn first, or the water? Now, the water could feed the corn while it's in the ground and encourage it to grow. But this corn has already grown. The seeds have been harvested, and it hasn't been buried in the earth to be fed with water. Demeter is the goddess of nature's bounty. She's essentially Mother Earth, or Mother Nature, with Persephone, her daughter, down in the underworld. And if we're celebrating Persephone returning from Hades' realm, just as we would celebrate the crops springing up from the earth, the seeds are already here. This isn't about burying seeds. What happens if we add the water to the seeds? Well, how much water? It could get a bit mushy, a bit yucky. You notice we're not given the opportunity to interact with the flames first. The corn seems to be the important thing here, so we will go with that. Just to be clear, I've got a pretty good idea what I'm doing, but it is tricky. A number of actions spring to mind. You could eat from a bowl of corn. What? Eat it all for eat for myself in front of all these people who want to celebrate nature's bounty, and they just see someone stuffing their face. You could burn the corn on the brazier. Right, again, nature's bounty. Why destroy it in front of these people? They probably wouldn't like that. You could sprinkle some corn on the water, but you don't sprinkle corn on the water, you sprinkle it on a ploughed field. Or you could scatter the corn into the crowd. That sounds like something very wise that people would approve of. There is a clue there, and I'll let you know. If you take that clue, you're just told, yeah, we don't have a clue either, you've got to work it out. You take some of the seed from a bowl and scatter it on the crowd. It blows in the wind, and the people shout out, eager to catch even a grain. Seeing that you have chosen rightly, you continue until the bowl is half empty. What next, I wonder? Having completed the corn rite, you must now attend to the water. We could drink the water. Again, this feels like being selfish with nature's bounty, quench the fire with the water, or sprinkle the water on the seeds. Well, we had the opportunity to sprinkle the seeds on the water. That was clearly the wrong thing to do because we gave the seeds to the people. Sprinkling the water on the seeds is kind of the same thing of mixing those two together, so we're down to one of these two options. Drinking the water is probably wrong, so we'll go with dousing the flames. You take the water urn and pour its contents onto the brazier. Even the thick smoke cannot hide the joy of the crowd as they celebrate the fulfillment of the springtide mysteries of Eleusis. There are cheers and shouts of joy as the mantle of winter is cast off, and now spring can begin. The priestess leaps to your side and exclaims, "Spring is here! Demeter's daughter Persephone has returned. Rejoice, for the great mother smiles on the earth once more." With this, the festivities begin. Feasting, dancing, singing, and celebrations of the fertility goddess are soon underway. It is late in the night when, filled with food and wine, you retire but are kept awake by the sound of the feasting and the clash of the sacred cymbals. In the morning you awaken. The celebrations are still continuing, but before you leave, the high priestess presses a gift into your hands. It is a golden brooch crafted in the form of an ear of corn. She explains that it will identify you as a friend of the priestess Demeter. This may come in useful in Crete. She then returns once more to the sacred enclosure. You may have 3 honor points and are now in favour with Demeter. Probably the most important thing we got from this town. Again, brooch has been spelt the Scottish way, brooch, which is, the Scottish do say brooch instead of brooch. It's a homonym. And 3 honor points, taking us up to 23. Don't worry, we probably won't have that many by the end of the book. We'll probably need to spend something like 6 or 12 of them, I can't remember. Anyway, let's push on. And there will be some shocking revelations towards the end of the video. Well, not that shocking. As you leave Eleusis behind, the way is lined on either side by olive trees, and some distance from the town, a track joins the main path to your left. You pause a while in the hope that some traveller will be able to tell you the road to take, but no one comes. Impatiently, you decide to move on. You can take the track or carry on down the road. Well, for starters, I think we should just be extremely grateful. And I'm going to stop here because now we have no chance of a track to the left. So, heading out of Eleusis, how the hell? Pagae, Eleusis all the way over here towards Athens. So we've missed Megara, Chromion, which we had an option to go there otherwise. So we are headed towards Marathon or Athens. The track on the left will go to Akane or Marathon then. Okay. This means we've missed the opportunity to go to Delphi. We've missed the opportunity to go to Thebes and overhear the assassins planning to kill the king. And the opportunity to warn the king and protect him. And most importantly of all, on the road from Thebes to Akane is the opportunity to gain the Favour of Dionysus, which we do not have. Now, the Favour of Dionysus proved to be particularly useful in our initial playthrough of the first 2 books. It generally protected us from things like poisoned drinks. However, everything it protected us from was something we had an opportunity to protect us from anyway. It was a good set of warnings and 1 or 2 protections. It feels like the Favour of Dionysus is there to get you through an initial playthrough up to the point where you may meet the Minotaur, but that on future playthroughs you will utilise player knowledge that Altheus, the hero, does not have, and say to yourself, why yes, I know that's a bad choice because the Favour of Dionysus protected me last time and I might not have it this time. Whereas the Favour of Demeter appears to come in possibly only once, and that in Book 2, at a very crucial moment, that will make a massive difference to the confrontation with the Minotaur itself. So it feels almost like you're supposed to come a cropper at some point up to this, up to the middle of Book 2. And then go back to the beginning and start again. Because, of course, classic game book rules, if you die, you go back to the beginning of Book 1. So you would get to play Book 1 numerous times and become very familiar with it. And I know I have my house rule for series where I can treat the end of each book as a save point, so that I only have to go back to the beginning of the next book should I perish. But in this case, lacking the Favour of Demeter was massive. It cost us 6 protection against the Minotaur, which would have made it a much fairer fight. Do we want to take a path to the left? I think I have a feeling if we do, we will be channeled back towards Athens anyway. But when we get to Athens, we'll have to deal with the whole thing of the Amazons anyways, so I can leave that for the next episode. In which case, I reckon I might as well end this one here. Put off that decision about the sidetrack a little bit longer. I hope you've enjoyed this episode, short though it may be, and I'll look forward to seeing you all in the very next one. I'll say goodbye for now though, and cheerio everyone. See you all soon.